We live in testing times and our children can be the biggest testers of them all. We welcome parenting expert Di Wilcox to the program now. Di, we are discussing what to do when your child ignores you, deliberately ignores you, pretends not to hear your request. What does it mean when a child ignores a parent?
It can be extremely frustrating to be ignored at any time. We all agree on that. And a parent should expect respect. But what we have to remember is that a parent needs to teach respect to their children from a really young age. And children are watching how their parents treat one another, how people treat one another in the house from a young age. Now, if your child's ignoring you, it may not be deliberate. First of all, they may not have heard you. Second of all, sometimes children take a little bit of time to process what's being said to them before they can respond. Some children, depending on what you've said to them, can feel extremely overwhelmed and they shut down. And if your child's in the process of dealing with some big emotions such as anger or frustration, then that's not the time to communicate with them. They're not going to hear anything.
So they're not always just being naughty?
No, and what we say to parents and teachers is try not to label a child as naughty. Try to understand where their behaviour is coming from. So what we say is a situation occurs, that situation creates thoughts and feelings for a child, and those thoughts and feelings create their behaviour. If you can understand where your child's behaviour is coming from, you can help them manage it, teach them a new way of dealing with it appropriately for a better outcome. Having said that, if a child is being defiant, then it's okay to impose consequences. But my tip is this: as a family, while everyone's calm, sit down and create a set of household rules. And with those rules are consequences. If your children are part of creating the consequences, they're more likely to accept the consequences when you impose them.
Can you give us an example of that?
Yes, I can give you an example of someone actually took a child's iPad away, and out of their frustration they broke the iPad while trying to grab it from their grandparent, and they insisted the grandparent should go and buy them another iPad. The grandparent actually had the child earn the money back to get their own iPad because they'd broken it. It was a consequence appropriate to the situation.
How do you keep your cool through all of that?
That's hard, and there's a lot of deep breathing required by the parent. But if you really feel like you're super angry, it's okay to take time out for yourself. Go into your room, tell your child you're going to deal with it when you're feeling a bit calmer, because you're role modelling how to manage anger in that situation.
We have a viewer question for you. Letitia Gingle says the law fails us. Totally strip parents from our right to have authority, which equals no respect.
I can certainly understand why parents are feeling that way, because I'm hearing a lot of children threaten their parents. They're going to call the police, they're going to tell the school. What you need to do is tell your child while they're calm that your job is to be their parent, not their friend, which means you're going to make some decisions that they're not going to always like, but you are the main person in their world that cares so much about them. You want the best life for them. So when they're threatening you and when they're giving you a hard time, you don't need to respond in anger. You can remind them that you are making this decision to protect them and keep them safe, and hopefully when they calm down you can talk that through properly.
Di Wilcox, thanks for your tips this evening.
Thanks for having me.